Nigeria, and I make you welcome. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television from the economic heart of Nigeria, Lagos. My name is Henry Igwebike. Let's start our day today with our newspapers, and right after that will be our main conversation also. Please do well to be part of what we do, have a say in what we say. You can always find or reach us when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms right here at Enterprise TV7. We're so very honored to have with us right here in our studios Emeka Madunago, journalist, public affairs commentator, to see through all that we have from our newspapers and possibly let us ride into our main conversation for today. Good morning, Emeka.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Let's start off today with the Guardian newspaper. We have interesting stories here. In Plateau State, Plateau urges calm as attack death toll rises to 32. A very sad moment for the Riam community. I saw the killing of both the old, the young, children, babies, toddlers, and one would ask, what is the meaning of life really? If people can just randomly walk into people's homes and kill them heartlessly. A very sad moment for Plateau State, and let's do some talking on that, Emeka. Let's start off there. I saw the video. A journalist that was on site there couldn't hold herself. She was literally crying. I would love to believe she saw the very gory side of what happened. I saw the pictures actually of a toddler that was killed, just laying there on the bed. Sadly, our president hasn't said anything yet on that particular matter. And the question is, do we really have a leader in Nigeria?
No, well, he declared 7 days of mourning for Buhari. So the 7 days are not over. So maybe he's still in mourning. And then the National Assembly also declared a whole week off work, in honor of Buhari. So maybe, excuse me, their phones are still off. They can't see what is going on. That tells you the sad situation, in terms of the leadership in the country, where we find ourselves. It tells you a lot about, the way the people we have in government actually take serious issues. It's not enough to snatch, grab, and run away with power. The responsibilities are very, very important. Just like a man cannot just take a woman, put her in a house, and say, I'm a husband, and you think there won't be responsibilities. There will be responsibilities on a day-to-day basis, So the killing in Plateau has only shown that this government lacks the emotional intelligence, the empathy, and the right strategy to deal with it. These guys who are doing all these things, excuse me, actually land grabbers. These are terrorists. It's so clear. I mean, you can't be killing people in Plateau, in Benue, and you get away with it. Nothing. There's no repercussion. Soldiers are in the area. The military is in the area. But here, these people, so what it tells you is that a lot of people in office should, just be conveniently retired. A lot of military, the military top brass should be retired, because if they cannot live up to their oath of office to defend the Federal Republic of Nigeria, then what are they doing there?
But do you think it is a failure of them not defending the oath, or is it more of them being partisan in this particular case? Because the people who survived it said the soldiers were there, they all saw what happened, but none of them came to the rescue of the 32 that were killed.
You see, that is it. If they are partisan, it's even more grievous. Whatever they are failures. They have totally failed to defend the people of Plateau State and the people of Benue State. They've totally failed and should just retire, go into civilian life. Because, let me tell you, go everywhere. You don't see anybody praising all these kinds of, ugly incidents, praising the military for sleeping on duty. I mean, what else what else should Nigeria do to make this? I mean, what else should we as Nigerians do to make this country safer? What else? What else? Huge budgets every year to the military, huge budgets every year on defense. And yet, these criminals are operating. What the Chief of Defense Staff is more interested in is building a wall. Tell me, is Plateau on the border of Nigeria? Riom, that was attacked, is he on the border of Nigeria? Somebody was saying that the kinds of generals we have now, people who have not gone to war. So they cannot even handle ordinary insurgents. Imagine if these were the people who were, in office when we went to Liberia, when we went to Sierra Leone. Imagine if these were the people. Imagine what kind of country we would have had. It's sad. It's unfortunate. People just bear the title, general and just there. But it's sad. It's a disgrace. Because these guys who are carrying out these things, they are not stronger than the Nigerian military. I mean, if you are in office and politicians won't allow you to do your work, then you resign and go away. You quit your commission and you walk away. What is all this? Lives are being lost, and it looks as if, we can just continue to have a jolly ride. I say no to that. Because it's unacceptable.
Very unacceptable, because according to those that witnessed it, they said it was very coordinated. They actually have named names to that. It says Fulani jihadists that came, coordinated the attack, burnt down buildings, went into homes and massacred.
Is it not the same Tinubu government, this failed, irresponsible government that is talking about setting on Ruga in different states of the Federation? I don't know, this pampering of these Fulani headers. I just hope it doesn't plunge this country into a serious problem. Because you'll find out these days, governors are now trying to change narrative. Security chiefs are trying to change the narrative. Oh, they are headsmen, they are not Fulani. Oh, there are other ethnic groups that engage in heading. But when they catch some and parade them, you can tell by the way they look what they are. And many of these guys, for what you hear, are not even Nigerians. These guys are imported from other countries to cause mayhem in this country. You can see the shameless, the shameless revisionism they've been engaging in concerning Buhari. Oh, that he was a unifier. Unifier of where? Unifier of where? Buhari who slept while his kinsmen ravaged parts of the country. Have we forgotten what happened in Oyo? Why did they go after Sunday Igboho? Chief Sunday Adeyemo, aka Igboho. Why did they go after him? Was it not because he put up a resistance to these marauders? Then some people in the DSS went to his house. Now, one of those shameless revisionists was saying, no, Buhari was not aware of the attack on Sunday Igboho. No, I said I was aware. He wasn't aware. What kind of shame is all of this?
And the truth of the matter is that the Hausa community are seriously distancing themselves away from the Fulani, and it's becoming a very big glaring depletion layer there. They're actually saying that it's been a continuous issue that the Fulani had dominated them, even when they are lesser in number. But of course, they are the ones heading lots of parastatals and the one leading the northern part of Nigeria. But let's get to other matters here. Federal government blames rising cases of cardiovascular diseases on high sodium intake. It's coming from the Minister of Health. Emeka, I know we're not scientists, neither are we medical practitioners, but to say that the federal government now blaming the rising case of cardiovascular disease on high sodium intake, and we're talking about salt here, I do not know. Are we really, facing the problem remotely, digging it deep, or the federal government, like we all know how to, cast blames on things that are really not necessary at this point?
Well, if you're talking about high sodium intake, but there are scientists that say that sodium intake doesn't have anything to do with
Exactly.
it. Yeah. I mean, you go to some countries of the world, the way they take salt, the way they take sugar, is even much more than we do in Nigeria. You go to Thailand, you know, I mean, I went to a Thai restaurant one time I traveled abroad, and what they served us as meat was actually soaked in sugar. So we're not wondering. And they said, yes, they eat sugar a lot. So when we talk about sugar intake, salt intake, I think the government should actually find the root causes. Stop looking for things that are not, you know, that are not actually the problem. The problem is we have a dietary problem in Nigeria. The diets, the economy is bad, so people cannot actually have a variety of choices in terms of food intake. You know, a lot of people are depressed, a lot of people cannot meet their obligations. So there are these other things, there are these other factors that also contribute to, you know, poor, you know, to health issues. So trying to cast blame on salt, are you saying people should not use salt anymore?
In fact, that was how sometimes back the federal government blamed the palm oil for something. And,
no, it is
producers started stating.
I'm into agriculture.
Yes, and some people started stating.
If you are talking of adulterated palm oil, it is different. You know, but don't just say palm oil. You see some say seed oils. These things are used all around the world. Look at the critical issues, you know. Look at the critical issues and ask yourself, what is really causing all these problems?
But Emeka, how do we even know what causes all the problems when our research centers, universities that should be doing the research,
are they funded?
They're not even funded.
They are regularly on strike. They are regularly on strike.
Even when they are not, no electricity for them to power whatever it is they need to do.
How can they just
carry out research?
Come out and make a blanket declaration that it is a salt, as if other countries are not consuming salt? You know, I mean, they should look at the real issues. They should deal with the real issues. Our ancestors, they salted meat, fish. They salted those things to preserve them. So how come salt has now become a problem in our own time?
In fact, Emeka, from where I come from in Imo State, we are known for taking so much salt. So if that was a problem, I would love to believe my whole community would have been wiped away. You know, so which shows that it's really not the case, and other things should have been should have been researched into that. But Emeka, let's take a look at all this other matters here. Allegedly, alleged 6.9 billion fraud court acquits discharges Fayose of money laundering. We saw him rejoicing with his contractors, eating amala and having a nice time while he celebrated the court verdict or judgment on his side. But lots of people have said that this was possible because he's now standing on the mandate, allegedly.
I don't think so. I don't think so. It's sad the way EFCC has been handling cases. I mean, look at the case of, for instance, Yaya Bello. Look at the shenanigans in that case. With due respect to the Honorable Court, I mean, look at what came up in terms of, you know, bringing up issues that are not tangential to the matters before the court. So that is why you see the EFCC has been, you know, losing cases. And it's sad, political cases, you know, they are just more focused on the Yahoo boys. But political cases, EFCC has not recorded appreciable success. If you ask them now, they will tell you, oh, it is the other day they brought out one funny figure. Then when people started asking them questions, they turned around and said, no, that's not what we meant. That's not the figure we actually intended to bring out. So it tells you a lot, you know, that a lot, you know, I mean, you know, the way they've been handling political cases, cases of politically exposed persons, leaves a lot to be desired.
All right, so let's take a look at all the matters from the Vanguard newspaper with the little time. We have less than 10 minutes to go, and we have the big story, 2027, Atiku's exit won't affect our fortune, and also obedience deny alleged rift between Peter Obi and Nenadi Usman. Emeka, is there any sort of fracas between these two great Labour Party stakeholders?
No, if there was, I mean, why would there be? They have fought, they've gone to the court, up to the Supreme Court, and they've got victory. The only thing remaining now is for INEC to state where it stands. INEC to state where it stands on the Supreme Court judgment. INEC will tell you, excuse me, that they are still studying the judgment. So that's what is left. Other than that, it's running. You see, let me tell you, there are purveyors of mischief, falsehood everywhere. If you are not saying that, the coalition is falling apart, that Obi and Atiku held a secret meeting and almost exchanged blows, they will tell you, Obi and El-Rufai quarrel. No, El-Rufai and Aregbesola. Then they will come to the Labour Party. No, Obi. You see, these are just... And they are paid. They are on the payroll of politicians. And it's sad that many of these people are young Nigerians who still have many years ahead of them. But look at what they are doing with their youth. Making a mess of their youth. It's sad. It's sad, really. And you just wonder. They are just there for their pockets. They don't care. Even if the things they say lead to this country being incinerated, they don't care. They just don't, but they forget one thing. They forget one thing. What they are toying with is something actually bigger than them. What they are toying with is something actually bigger than them, because you see, there's what we call the theory of unintended consequences. When people engage in certain acts that are inimical to the, peace, progress, and stability of society, you never can tell when the tables will turn against them. You never can tell where the tables will turn and where they will be at that moment. So it's in their own interest. You see them all over the place, jumping all over the place. And the media, unfortunately, aiding and abetting them. There are so many issues. There are many issues on ground. Dangote now said that he wants the price of LPG to go down. That wouldn't mind even supplying people in their homes. The media is not dissecting the issues around that. The media is not doing that. Instead, they are looking at what some idle fellows are saying. In fact, they go to their pages and they camp, waiting for them what somebody will drop. What kind of thing? Dangote has said now that Nigeria doesn't consume, that Nigeria consumes 3 million liters instead of 50 or 56 million liters of PMS daily. Nobody is interrogating that. Where has the money been going to? Ogun State now, the civil servants now are going on strike because of non-payment of pension, gratuities, and all that. Nobody is interrogating that. And I can continue naming other. FCT primary school teachers were on strike for almost 4 months. Nobody is interrogating that. There are so many issues. I can begin to name more and more issues.
But Emeka, do you really think that the condition of running businesses in Nigeria, because let's hold some brief for the legacy media outfits, because I used to, every single day, I go through newspapers from Vanguard to Punch. There used to be a time, a couple of weeks back, for close to 3 weeks, we had the cover page of the Vanguard and the Punch literally filled up with some Wiki's launch of one street and one drainage and all of that. And the question is, when some Wiki and the likes are bombarding some of these media organizations that should do the researching with paid adverts, do you think that the same media organization would have what it takes to do in-depth research?
You cannot sell your integrity for a mess of porridge. We saw in the Bible, in the Holy Bible, we saw what happened to Esau, who sold his birthright for a mess of porridge. You cannot sell your integrity for a mess of porridge. I mean, there was one media house, there was one, print medium that actually didn't have any story on its cover. It was just its masthead. I mean, why do you do something like that to yourself? Are you telling me now that politicians can buy the entire paper and maybe tell you to sack all your staff members? No, there should be a limit to this. Yes, everybody wants money. Media houses should make money, but not at the expense of their integrity, not at the expense of holding our leaders accountable, holding Nigerians accountable. Not at that it should not be at the expense of that. So even if Nyesom Wike was putting wraparound or cover and all of that, but yes, but you should also have a limit. There should be a limit. There are things that should be a matter of editorial policy. That's sorry. Because let me tell you, some other media houses didn't get those adverts.
Yeah.
But have they gone out of existence? They've not. So the economy now, I know the economy things are tight and all of that, but it also requires unusual thinking. You know, unusual thinking, unusual business strategies to survive. And there are many of them out there. But nobody can tell me, can convince me why Nigerian media houses hang on some of these people who just, these idlers who just hang around social media talking nonsense. What are you looking for? Is that where money will come? You think you can get clicks at with time? The public becomes, begins to get disgusted. They begin to say all of you are the same. Because what has all these fellows, what do they have to offer? Sit them down, let's debate critical issues about the economy. What do they have to offer? President Tinubu came into power. There are actions he has taken, which if he had serious-minded people in his media team, look, there are things they can actually, project positively that he has done, and which they can use as a springboard to say, yes, okay, he has done this, but not getting involved in lying, in propaganda, in projecting falsehood. What he has not done, you say he has done it. And then what you are doing, is constantly attacking the opposition, and you leave your job. One of them actually has a position as a senior special assistant on policy, whatever. But this guy is always on X. He's always on X, writing writing one funny stuff or the other. He's always on X, writing one funny. Nothing about policy formulation. Nothing about about marketing the policies of the administration. Nothing. Because he doesn't even understand why he's there. I've never seen this guy one day sit down and write an essay to say, okay, this and this and this. This is a policy. Use big data. Break it down in figures. Let's have a debate around it. Let's have a debate. Let's look at it. School enrollment, for instance. What are the factors militating against school enrollment, and how has the Tinubu administration tried to deal with it? Deal with an issue like, okay, look at now, the Minister of Education has come out to say that any admission outside JAMB caps is illegal, and they published a list of tertiary institutions that have been allegedly involved in giving illegal admission. They publish their names, and they have now said that any admission given outside JAMB caps is illegal. Why not formulate a debate around it to say, oh, look at what the government is. The government is trying to make sure, the government is trying to infuse more integrity into tertiary admissions. No, they won't do that because they don't even understand their job functions in the first place. Look at one of them. Just as Nigerians were waiting for the body of former President Muhammadu Buhari to arrive, Nigeria from the UK, he tweeted, somebody tweeted a video about Buhari's campaign rally in Ibadan some years ago, and he just put unforgettable. The next thing, this fellow followed and then now said, now made a derisive comment. Then when people started abusing, is this the right time to do such a thing? He deleted it. What sort of human beings are these? These people are not illiterate. They are educated people. But they lack emotional intelligence to know the right time and the wrong time to do certain things. Buhari is dead. Like him or hate him, he's gone. He's gone. So, yes, we can say the thing, we can judge his legacy and all of that. But why would you now be trying to make political capital out of a rally that people have forgotten about? So the people who attended the rally may have died. All of those things, are gone. What exactly are you trying to prove with it? So the problem is, many of them are not even in the moment to know the current issues, the critical issues. Talk about CNG. You won't hear them saying anything. You won't hear them, debating the issues about CNG. Talk about so many things. There are many things to talk about.
In fact, there's this testimonial of a young lady on TikTok that said she is reading, I think, medicine and surgery, and all the while she never knew that the nail fund was even, functional.
Why should you give Nigerian students loans? But you go to St. Lucia and you're offering them scholarships. It's a disgrace. It's not something that should be heard at all. Because let me tell you something. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, when he was running for, when running 2023 elections as PDP presidential candidate, he said something. He said he will provide money to aid, micro, small, and medium enterprises. That he will set down $10 billion to do that. And that people are asking, how is he going to get it? He said he will sell the refineries. He will sell NNPC. The next thing, propagandists came up that he wants to sell NNPC to his friends. How many years after? Today, where are we? Biojewelry, the group MD, CEO of NNPC, has come out now to say that after 18 years and after investing $18 billion, the repair processes are getting complicated. So we are thinking of selling the refinery. The same thing Atiku Abubakar said.
They would have done a very long time ago.
The same thing Atiku Abubakar said. Peter Obi, as presidential candidate of the Labour Party in 2023, said that yes, I support the removal of subsidy, but it has to be in phases. You must first of all put buffers in place before doing it. The propagandists went to town. Peter Obi supports subsidy. You see, all these people are just minimalist. They are just micro, they just operate in microscopic environments. They don't think, they don't speak to the issues. It's just after doing it, they get paid. So, one thing we must know, Nigerians must not be distracted. The National Bureau of Statistics has now said that inflation rate has come down to 22.2%. Yeah. Are we interrogating it? Exactly. What is the meaning of 22.2%? At what point did inflation begin to come down? Because let's look at this scientifically. If you have a curve this way, right? You look at the point of acceleration. If you now say that curve, has flattened, what was the angle of acceleration? From where? You won't tell me from you will not tell, from what point did it begin to accelerate? From what point did prices begin to skyrocket? And what were the causative factors? That was the argument I had with somebody today. So from what point? So if you're now saying that, the Naira has remained like one of Tinubu's aides, the Naira has remained stable for 4 days, I asked him a question. I said, at what point did the Naira begin to fall against the dollar at this critical? At what point? And
what cost it?
What cost it?
Exactly.
And then what are you doing? Because when you're telling me that the Naira has been stable for 4 days, let me tell you, it's as simple as ABC. Go to the woman down the road. She may tell you she's not been able to sell some brands of milk for 1 week. Why? Because people cannot afford those ones. But maybe people can afford cheaper brands. And that's why they are buying. It's as simple as that. Doesn't answer the question of what the Tinubu administration doing to stabilize the Naira. It doesn't answer the question. But you see, they think we're not intelligent. They won't ask questions. They don't even want us to ask questions. And that's sad.
Very sad. When leadership is not based on transparency, it comes with lots of hiccups, lots of jagged edges here and there. And one would wonder Are we really moving forward or backwards? 2 steps forward, 10 steps backwards. And this was the same mistake late former President Muhammad Buhari made for 8 years that had gone wrong right now. Nigerians are not very comfortable even after he is gone. And I truly do hope that the present leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will take corrections and see what he can do. He still has more than enough opportunity to do that less than 2 years down the road. If he is serious and intentional about getting this thing done, it is on his table, rested right there. We will be right back. Emeka will be here to take us on our main conversation. That's when we return. PDP unfazed by Atiku's departure ahead of 2027 polls. It's still Enterprise Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please don't go anywhere. For joining us and being back. This is still Enterprise the Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's head straight to our main conversation for today. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has officially resigned from the People's Democratic Party (PDP), citing irreconcilable differences and a shift away from the party's founding principles. In a letter dated July 14, 2025, Atiku thanked the PDP for past opportunities, including serving as vice president and running twice as its presidential candidate. He expressed sadness over the decision, saying the party's direction no longer aligns with his values. In swift reaction, PDP leaders, including Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde and former Deputy National Chairman Bode George, insisted that Atiku's departure will not affect the party's chances in the 2027 elections. Makinde described politics as a game of interest and maintained that PDP remains a strong institution. George criticized Atiku's move as selfish, advising him to retire from politics and spend time with his family, having already attained significant political positions. Meanwhile, a senior PDP official dismissed Atiku's exit as unsurprising and urged the media to focus on more pressing issues like hunger and hardship. He emphasized that Atiku had left the party before and it didn't collapse. The party called for a national focus to shift from political defections to the country's economic and social challenges. As we have Emeka Madonago. Thank you so very much, Emeka, for hanging on.
Thank you very much.
So let's get to the crux of the matter here. This is the second time Atiku is leaving the party. And just like it was stated here in my reportage, the party has still not gone on the bridge, or of course hasn't collapsed yet. Do you think anything will be wrong with the PDP, knowing that big wigs are leaving it? Dele Momodu just, of course, sent his letter.
David Mark
too. Who else has done that? I guess other people that have equally done that, but these are the big stakeholders that have, of course, said they were no longer interested in the party. What do you think will be left of the party?
Well, to continue with business as usual, but it won't be business as usual.
So what's the business as usual?
Business as usual, the interim leadership remains there until there's a national convention to elect a new set of leaders. To elect or select a new set of leaders. I mean, when I say elect, an elective convention or select an affirmative convention, whereby you just affirm a set of leaders, just, like has been done in the African Democratic Congress, the ADC, in the interim, affirming the leadership of David Mark and Rauf Aregbesola as national chairman and national secretary, respectively, of the party. So the issues remain. The party was supposed to have held a NEC meeting, a National Executive Committee meeting, but it has not held. The other day, when it was to hold a meeting at its national secretariat, policemen invaded the place and chased people out. That is anti-democratic. What is the business of the police with a political meeting where there is no threat of violence, where people are not fighting? What's the business of the police? Why? You invade a party secretariat? What you are doing is that you are denying millions of Nigerians who subscribe to the ideals of that party. You are denying them the right to be heard. And that is unconstitutional. That is a crime. That's a crime against the Constitution, because the Constitution says you shall not discriminate against any Nigerian based on status. But what you are doing is that you are shutting the democratic space. You are shutting them off the democratic space. Because their leaders, their party leaders are meeting, and then you are shutting them off. That is very wrong. And that is why people say Nigeria is a banana republic. Because you have people in power, you have people in the security agencies who don't care about upholding democratic norms. So, everybody has been saying, no, Atiku is the problem, or PDP, forgetting the fact that Atiku was one of the people who saved the PDP from collapse in 2014. They're forgotten. After I left in 2014, in 2018, is what I wanted to say, not 2014. Now, remember that there was a problem with the leadership of the PDP at the time. A crisis between Ali Modu Sheriff and then Ahmed Mohamed McCarthy, former governor of Kaduna State, about who was the authentic national chairman. And if you remember what the Supreme Court said, the Supreme Court said that McCarthy was rightly qualified to be regarded as national chairman. That Ali Modu Sheriff should find his way. And that's as simple as, and that's how the party came back, and got its bearing again. So when people say, oh, Atiku should quit the presidential race, and I ask them for what? He has his right as a Nigerian. Somebody was even saying the other day that in some countries Atiku could sue people telling him, because that's a crime. It's called ageism. You are now saying because he's old. How old is Donald Trump?
Or Joe Biden.
How old was Joe Biden?
Yeah.
Begin to name them. You say you should get younger people. Have you given younger people the chance to get into politics,
but
to get into governance?
The younger people
are more interested in working as thugs, in working as bouncers, as data boys for these politicians. How many younger Nigerians today have come out boldly to say, I am coming out? Because they know that nobody is going to give them a voice. They know that they won't be given a ticket. You see the Nigerian government, shamelessly talking about, congratulating people. Oh, this one became a mayor in Canada. Oh, this one became a council leader in the UK. This one was this. Ask them if in Nigeria, if those people were in Nigeria, where they will get to. So Atiku Abubakar has left the PDP, and things will never be the same again. Because let me tell you, Atiku is one of the people who has actually upheld, held the PDP, supported the PDP. It's too bad he has had to, he had to leave. But honestly, I felt that, his movement in November 2013, his defection, was actually where he demystified himself. Sadly, he shouldn't have left. He shouldn't have left.
What would he have done?
No, he should have remained.
Because Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was insistent on running.
Second term.
Yes, and which the constitution of the party didn't provide for.
No.
So
the constitution of PDP. Let's not get it wrong.
Yeah.
PDP doesn't have zoning in its constitution. No. PDP doesn't have power shift in its constitution.
So how did Nyesom Wike conclude on? Yes,
it's a gentleman's agreement. In politics, there's what we call conventions. You have gentleman's agreement. Oh, the North has been there for 2 years, for 2 terms, 8 years. Okay, let it move to the South. Like in the States, do you see anywhere in Nigerian Constitution where it says that there shall be rotation among senatorial districts? There are states like Anambra State that have adopted it, that okay, we will have rotation. Some states like Lagos, it's more about religion. Okay. Oh, Christian, Muslim.
Yeah.
So all these things are not constitutional matters. These things, because politics is about, interests.
But can they be referred to as unwritten laws?
No, they are not laws. I don't want us to be legalistic. Because if you take politics on the strict legalistic path, you will miss out a lot of things. You will lock out a lot of people. You will miss out on a lot of opportunities. What am I saying in essence? It was taken for granted that Jonathan, continued the first term of his late former president, former President Umar Musa Yar'Adua before he died. Now, Jonathan wanted another opportunity, just another 4 years. He wouldn't have taken anything if Atiku Abubakar had remained, because, it was a big miscalculation for him to have thought he could have got the APC's ticket over and above Muhammadu Buhari, who had been running since 2003.
But he wasn't, the chances, as at the time, Buhari wasn't really looking like someone that literally would have been given that ticket.
Yeah, we'll answer that.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. Buhari, in 2003, ran as Buhari on the platform of the ANPP, the All Nigerian People's Party. He lost. There was a set of objectives at that time. According to Buba Galadima, a chieftain of the New Nigerian People's Party, some days ago, he said Buhari was drafted in to stop the Southwest, to stop Yorubas from the alleged plan to retake Ilorin, the capital of Kwara State. That's what Buba Galadima said. Good and fine. He lost in 2003. He ran again in 2007 against his kinsman, Umar Musa Yar'Adua. He failed. He ran again in 2011. Remember, in 2011, Atiku Abubakar was a candidate, presidential candidate, of the PDP. No, sorry, Jonathan. Goodluck Jonathan was a presidential candidate of the PDP. Atiku ran against him as an aspirant, but he lost.
In the primaries?
In the primaries.
Okay.
So, now, 2015 beckoned. And then, some politicians from the South felt that, okay, we could make good use of Buhari, because Buhari had an appeal. He was the most popular politician in the North as at that time. Excuse me. He was known as Megaskia, that's the Speaker of Truth, and all of that, his white apparel and all of those things. There were issues around him that really...
was flying economy. I remember very well at the time.
Forget all this. Well, taking sachet beverages and milk, all those things were just for photo ops. They didn't really mean those things. So now, he appealed to... But as at that time, as at 2013, he was in CPC. Congress of Political Parties. Let me say, as at 2012. Congress for Progressive Change, I'm sorry. So, some politicians, like the current president, Bola Tinubu, felt that, well, we can extend Buhari's reach beyond the North by adding some votes to him in the South. The famed 12 million votes he kept getting in the North, that we can help him do better than that by 2015. Let's come into a coalition. Let's bring CPC. Okay, they spoke to some people in PDP, because remember, at that time, someone like Rotimi Amechi, who was governor of Rivers State, was having problems with Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, who was the president at that time. You had Kwankwaso, Kanu, who had issues with Jonathan. You had, Mwetala Yako, of Adamawa State. You had a Tambua, Sokoto. You had all of those people, who were Erufai too, So they all came together in a coalition, even including Rochas Okorocha, who brought part of ABGA, on whose platform he became the governor of Imo State. So they all came together, 5 political parties. the ACN, Tinubu's ACN, Buhari's CPC, then the All Nigeria People's Party, people like Ogbonnaya. Then you had the new PDP, Rotimi Amechi and co. Then you had Abga, Rocha Sokorocha and co, who came together and formed, and applied for registration as the All Progressives Congress, APC, in April 2013. By November of that year, Atiku led 5 PDP governors away to APC. It was a strategic blunder. It was a big blunder. 7 northern governors met with President Barack Obama, US President then, and told him Jonathan was this, Jonathan was oppressing them in the north, Jonathan claimed he was fighting Boko Haram, but he was using it against the north, blah, 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 blah,
and
blah,
of course,
blah,
the Chibok girls...
no, the Chibok girls came the following year, 2014. I'm talking of 2013.
Okay.
So that was a strategic blunder. By the following year, Bukara Saraki and co, they left the PDP. That was a strategic blunder. Because what would have happened is that if Atiku had subsumed his ambition, if he had waited, I said, okay, yes, if I running against Buhari, who had run 2003, 2007, 2011, if I run against him in this coalition, it will not work. Because Buhari has already, the famous 12 million votes in his kitty from the north, guaranteed from the north. I don't have that. One, I have money. Buhari claims not to have money, but he has a grassroots following.
Yeah.
And then the reason for the formation of that coalition was to actualize Buhari's ambition to become president. Not because it was an open sesame, where Kwankwaso ran, Sam Daisaya, the publisher of leadership newspaper, ran, Atiku ran, Buhari. No, that was just to make the process look credible. The person for whose presidential ambition the APC was formed was Muhammadu Buhari. It was clear, but Atiku felt he could muzzle his way and become the APC's presidential candidate, which was a big blunder.
But doesn't that show desperation on his part, which is still very evident?
Yes.
Which is still evident.
Poor political. No, even. That's why I said by moving in 2013, he demystified himself.
But don't you think he is worsening the situation now?
No, well, no. It's a different kettle, because
how is it different?
In terms of the coalition.
Yes.
No, okay, well, I get your point.
Yes.
In a way, he's like trying to reenact what happened in 2013. In April 2013,
which might cost him.
The coalition was formed to actualize the presidential ambition of Muhammadu Buhari. This is 2025. And it's generally believed that this coalition was formed to actualize the presidential ambition of Mr. Peter Obi. Because if you look at it today, to all intents and purposes, Peter Obi is the most popular opposition politician in Nigeria today.
Are you sure? Does he have that cult following in
the northeast and the northwest? No, you see, that was the mistake people made. Buhari didn't have that following in the south. But some people were willing to bring that cult following from the south. Actually, if you look at it, Tinubu's supporters have been saying that they brought 2.4 million votes and added to Buhari's 12 million votes and got 14.4 million votes that he used to beat Jonathan, who had 12 million votes, that they brought. So Peter Obi has a cult following in the south.
Which of the south here? Because we know that southwest is out of it.
No, you cannot. You see, we are talking politics. And let me tell you something. The appeal, go out on the streets. I don't work for Peter Obi. I'm not a politician. But I'm just telling you my observation as a journalist. Out there, it is clear. Or else, the Tinubu, the Tinubu people and all of that will not be attacking Peter Obi 24/7 as if he's the president. I mean, if they didn't feel he's a threat to Tinubu, they wouldn't concentrate so much on him. Yes,
But they have always asked for, I do not know why they have made this clarion request, that the PDP, as at the time when they were all in the PDP, should ensure they zone their presidency to the south. Don't you think that was because they felt that Peter Obi was an easy run through?
You see what happened.
Than Atiku Abubakar, who had more than enough clout in the northern part of Nigeria and might glide through in the south.
What happened was that Atiku would have had his, Atiku Abubakar would have had his own moment if he had supported Jonathan in 2015. Because Buhari said it at that time that after this third time, he would not run again. Atiku could have instead built a coalition. He would have done either of two things. He would have either built an agreement with Jonathan as president, or built an agreement with Tinubu in the coalition to say, okay, Buhari is old. Buhari is this, is not old or acceptable. Push me forward. Okay, let's go and meet Obasanjo, who is a major stumbling block for my ambition, and let us resolve it. Remember, Olagunsoye Oyinola, former governor of Osun State, he brought them together. He brought Atiku and Obasanjo together, to a meeting to say, let's resolve whatever the problems are, let's resolve them. So there were all these moves were made. So if Atiku had said, okay, no, let me hold on. Let me support Jonathan 2015 to 2019. 2019 is just here, just around the corner. Then Jonathan, you are going to pledge to me that, okay, that you will support me to succeed in 2019. Atiku would have had an easy walkover in 2019. It would have been an easy walkover in 2019 for him. Because, look at the 2011. Jonathan held a meeting before the 2011 election, presidential election. He held a meeting with Tinubu at State House Marina here in Lagos. And then, please, allow me, mobilize your people for me to win Lagos. Please, because Lagos has a large number of votes. Well, and he agreed.
That election,
you see, Obasanjo gave conditions.
Because let's not forget, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is the current president, has been nursing this same desire for a very long time.
Let's leave.
Yes.
Look, let me tell you something. What I'm saying is this. We're talking about Atiku.
Yes.
What I'm saying is that Jonathan depended on his agreement with Tinubu, and it helped him. Even agreement with Obasanjo, it helped him to win in 2011, both agreements. But Jonathan didn't stick to the agreements. There were certain things which I understand, certain commitments he made, which he didn't stick to. And that was the reason for the coalition in 2013, in April 2013. So if Atiku had said no, he could have gone to meet Tinubu and said, hold on, let's hold on. Let Jonathan go. You see this Buhari, there isn't much we can gain from him. Buhari is rigid in his ways and all of that. Let's hedge our bets on Jonathan. Let's stay with him. Whatever Jonathan, blah, 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 even though, because part of it was also survivalist. Remember Jonathan, it was under Jonathan that Tinubu was dragged to Code of Conduct Tribunal. Yeah. So it was also a survivalist move on the part of Tinubu to preserve himself. You understand? Nobody will hear that war is coming and stay. So it was also survivalist. But if Atiku could have mobilized Rotimi Amechi, whatever problems he had with he didn't even have problems directly with Jonathan. It was with the wife. Yeah. Patience. It could have been resolved. Round table, private meeting could have been resolved. And said, okay, fine, please. Due to this, and this, and this, let's allow him. Let him finish 8 years. Or that would have been, that would have been 10 years. Well, can call it 8 years, sort of.
10
but
years.
Okay, yeah, 10 years. Because he spent 2 years on Yaradua.
4 years, and
six,
another 4 years.
Then 2 years, 4 years, that's 6 years. And that 4 years, that would have been 10 years, unprecedented. But they could have sat down with him and reached an understanding that, okay, let us back you. that coalition of APC wouldn't have been formed. It would never have come up. Buhari would have just run on his own. If Jonathan said, okay, based on our previous commitment, okay, I will not prosecute any of you. Because let me tell you, in 2013, from what I learned, Buhari was not in the country throughout 2013. He was sick. I got to know this from a friend, he's late now. He was an aide to a northern governor. He said they went looking for Buhari in his house in Kaduna. And that, because they said they had not heard anything about him, they had not seen him in a long time. You know, I remember even at that time, where I was, you know, the media house I was working, we were trying to reach Buhari for an interview. But nobody had an idea where he was. So it was that governor that eventually went to Buhari's house and found out that he had been in the UK on medical treatment. Excuse me. So immediately Buhari came in, he was one of the first people that got to know. So they went to him. So now, throughout that 2013, Buhari wasn't around. Buhari wasn't there when they formed APC. He didn't even know about what was going on. They had to go and present it to him. Even one of the things they presented to him was Muslim ticket. But he said no, that he didn't know how to push that one. You know. So if Atiku had allowed Jonathan to say, okay, go 2015, but let's, you know, do this. And if Jonathan too had proved himself to be a keeper of agreement, I'm telling you, he would have won in 2015. APC would never have been formed. Jonathan would have won in 2015. By 2019, Atiku would have had an easy ride.
So now,
2019 to 2027, well, of course, there wouldn't have been a Bola Tinubu on the, yes, they wouldn't have featured. Yes, because he came because of APC. He wouldn't have featured. Yes. So even if Tinubu had gone ahead with the coalition, in 2013, of course, if Atiku had kept a distance from it, Atiku would have been able to convince, because remember, they were both in PDM, People's Democratic Movement, formed by the late General Shehu Musa Yaradua, you know, the former chief of staff, you know, Supreme Headquarters. So both of them, Tinubu and Atiku, were in PDM. So Atiku would have been able to convince, you know, those governors and all that, because he led them to the International Conference Center where they held the, was it Yaradua Center, where they held the declaration now in November 2013 that they were quitting PDP. He could have kept them back. He could have told them, no. Let's hold on. He could have even gone to Obasanjo. That look. But again, Jonathan too, he didn't keep agreements with Obasanjo. And then some things happened, unfortunately, like what one of Obasanjo's aides told some of us when we met with him in his house, you know, where he said, you know, he explained the circumstances that led to Obasanjo tearing his PDP membership card. That he was the one that caused the problem. It wasn't Jonathan. It was the one that caused. All of those things, Atiku would have even been a unifier, a builder. He would have unified the PDP in such a way that his ambition would have been realized. He would have had enough time to reach out, to say, okay, oh, President Obasanjo, please don't be angry. We will resolve this thing. This, and this. Because after all, Obasanjo himself, there were agreements he had with people. How many did he keep?
Very true, Emeka. Yeah, so we have less than a minute to go, and I'd love to ask you this as my final question. Where do you think this is leaving Atiku Abubakar as it stands today? Is he making the same mistakes? Do you think he might be the flag bearer, the presidential candidate for the ADC? What do you see, especially with Peter Obi saying that he is not going for a vice presidential opportunity?
Well, politics is an open-ended game. It's like you're on the chessboard. It's an open-ended game. Atiku has clearly shown it that he wants to run.
Yes.
He has said it. Peter Obi has said he is going to run. And if he has to run on the platform of the Labour Party, so be it. So you can see the Abure faction. They are too weak to pose any challenge. Forget all the noise that Arabambi their so-called spokesman has been making. It's all just rubbish. You know, it's of no consequence. You know. So Peter Obi has said, yes, I am not leaving the Labour Party. I'm still the Labour Party, but I'm also part of the coalition. And what is a coalition? Just, you know, a committee of friends now. Yeah. In a committee of friends. He has not said he's moving to ADC. But Atiku has left PDP. He has not said he's moving to ADC. Atiku has not said he's moving to ADC. It is some others. Aregbesola moved to ADC. David Mark moved to ADC. So we'll still keep our fingers crossed whether Atiku will move to ADC or whether he has another game plan. Because don't forget, Buhari's death has changed the dynamics.
Yes,
of politics in Nigeria.
Exactly. Especially with the home front, the APC right now. They are total.
That changed the dynamics
right now.
Right now, the North, there is no clear leader in the North. Nobody is a clear leader in the North. So you have Atiku, you have El-Rufai, you have Kwankwaso is mainly limited to Kano. He's not leading anything outside Kano. He used to have the stronghold in Kaduna, but gradually, because he was neither in APC nor PDP nor NNPP. NNPP even said they've expelled him. So, you know, but clearly, Atiku and El-Rufai
are like the
leaders, interim leaders of the North. Yeah. And I was telling some people yesterday, I was asking a question in the meeting yesterday. I asked them this question. I said, what if Atiku, having left PDP, comes up to say that, okay, I will keep my options open, but I want to I'll rather stay as a leader of the North and then support Peter Obi and El-Rufai. Peter Obi presidential candidate, El-Rufai is running mate. What will happen? So that's why I said politics is fluid. It's an open-ended game. The fact that he has left PDP, he has left everybody guessing. There's still enough time. Atiku can decide not to say I'm going to any party for now. He will keep everybody guessing. You see, has up till next year, up till about either August or September next year, you know, to decide. Even he still has up to, let's even say, up to May next year to not say anything about. Still be holding meetings with the coalition, but not say anything about this is the political party I'm moving to. He can still keep his fingers crossed, while the Tinubu camp will just be running up and down and be guessing, what does Atiku want to do? What next? What next? What next? You know, while aligned. If you notice yesterday in Daura, you saw the three of them sat. Yes. So Atiku sat to the right, El-Rufai in the middle, and Peter Obi to the left. Yeah. So you see the optics, you know, the optics matter. So we cannot dismiss, we cannot reach any definitive conclusion on what will be done. Atiku, yes, to all intents and purposes, looks like he's going to run. But what if he doesn't make that move on the chessboard? What will happen? It's still open-ended.
Very true. Open-ended question. The permutation still running around, and pundits are making all of the draft and pinning one to another, you know, connecting one dot to another. But in all of this, let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, the big elephant in the room, INEC, the security, judiciary, very pivotal to the decision that might be at the end of the day. So I do not know how the opposition will take care of all of this very so vital, pivotal structure that is within the length and the breadth of the APC. They have it all, and they can do with it whatever it is they are chosen. But of course, let's see how it goes, and let's see how that turns up. Right here on Enterprise Television, we promise to unfold some of those things, and of course bring to you pundits and analysts that will come do lots of discussion as we move forward. Thank you so very much, Emeka, for being here.
Thank you very much.
Truly do appreciate you. All right, people, that's just about the time we have. A lot to say. Thank you to you for making this picture complete. Please do well to visit us. If you may, you can always find us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Gwibike. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.